I'm always fascinated by the perception of African leaders by their counterparts globally, right? I want to understand, how do those leaders in Europe, in Asia, see African presidents? Like, imagine being an African president who has been in office for an extended period of time, and each of those years you've been in office, you're always asking for loans. And you're asking for loans from the same people that you see almost every year. And every year when you see these people, you're also asking for more loans. When you have oil and gas and you have all sort of things in your countries. African presidents, if you see their expenditure, how much money they spend daily, annually, it potentially trumps the expenditure of other their counterparts globally that give them loan, by the way. The amount of African presidents that spend millions of dollars on trips to annual conferences with a whole horde of people. You'll see African presidents coming to international events with like 20, 30 people, 40 people, costing the government money, costing the nation money. Meanwhile, other countries that are giving them loans are coming with maybe 5 people. If it's maximum, maybe 6, 7, maybe 10, max. And they all sit in the same plane, by the way. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just fascinated. Like, because me, I care about perception. These world leaders that are giving loans to these African presidents, a lot of them live a very efficient lifestyle. A lot of them, either they fly with the same plane, they are very conservative in terms of expenditure. But you'll see African presidents that are flying in to ask for money, coming in with 2, 3 jets, a whole host of people. Yet they are here to ask you for money. I don't know. Or you're an African president, and have you guys noticed that if you see a lot of like where African presidents stay, it is 3, 4 times the size of the countries that give them loans. Like, have you noticed? It's true. Like, if you look at like presidential villas, these things are massive. And if you look at like White House, Westminster, and other like where the presidents of like powerful countries live, it's modest. It's very modest. It's not as extravagant. I mean, I don't mind extravagance, but I think the presidential whatever should match where you stand. There's a discrepancy. Even if you look at the parliament of African countries, and you look at the parliaments of countries that actually give those countries loans. If you look at America, if you look at Britain, if you look at China, if you look at countries that actually give us loans, that we go and beg on our knees, a lot of their parliaments are very modest. You know, it's very modest. There's no flash there. When most of these presidents are traveling, yes, they have protection because they are world leaders, so they deserve to have like a motorcade. But how can you be the president of some obscure African country and you have like 100 cars following you? Like, bruh. I'm just fascinated. I'm also fascinated to see like how other presidents perceive African presidents that always travel abroad for medical care. You know what I mean? Like, imagine being the doctor and you are treating an African president. That doctor will be like, dude, you're the president of a country. Why don't you build these systems in your country so that the regular person can have access to good health care? Don't these African presidents think about it? Like, I am genuinely curious. Like, for me, I cannot. I'll be so ashamed of myself. I don't even like asking someone for money. Talk less of go and stand on stage to not ask for loans. I can't. No. But I cannot, because And also, like, dude, I'm from this country. I've got all the resources. You should be asking me for money. I don't know, man. Like, listen, I don't like us always blaming the West. I get it. The West has its own issues and has its own interference with us. I get it. I get it. But I sometimes think that we use the West, as an excuse to not take accountability, quite frankly, as Africans. And I think it's time for us to start putting the focus on our African leaders. It starts with our African leaders. Our African leaders are the ones dropping the ball. And we need to hold them to account. That's where it starts.